She wiped chocolate syrup off the twins' cheeks and smiled like it cost her nothing. He hadn't told her who he really was yet, but for the first time, he wondered if she'd stay even when she found out. If you're ready to hear the whole story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because, tomorrow, I will be giving you another story just as crazy as this one. And you don't want to miss it. Now let's get into it. Graham Maddux didn't do blind dates. Not because he was arrogant, because he was exhausted. He ran Maddux Media, a global tech conglomerate with holdings in AI, advertising, and everything in between. But on Saturdays, he ran after twins. Two 7-year-olds with matching dimples and polar opposite tempers, Leo and Lena. Their mother had left 5 years ago with nothing but a note. Since then, trust was a currency he rarely spent. Today, he wasn't CEO Graham Maddux. Today, he was just Graham, single dad, freelance web designer. Wearing faded jeans, an old jacket, and a Target watch he hadn't actually bought, just borrowed from his driver's son. The date was his sister's idea. She's not after money, Maggie had insisted. She teaches music to kids with disabilities. She's not even on social media. He was skeptical. Still, he showed up. The cafe was small, tucked between a bookstore and a laundromat. No chandeliers. No marble countertops. Perfect. He brought the twins. Because if she wasn't okay with that, it ended there. She walked in 5 minutes late. No apologies. Just energy, calm, unbothered. Her name was Callie. Wavy hair pulled into a loose knot. Boots with worn leather. A canvas tote bag filled with sheet music and chocolate lollipops. Her eyes met his. Then dropped to the kids. "Hi," she said gently. "Are you the ones I'm meeting, or are these the real bosses?" Leo grinned. Lena tilted her head. "Do you like pancakes?" Callie Saturday, only when they're messy. They ordered hot cocoa and shared bites off each other's plates. Callie didn't flinch when Leo spilled syrup. She laughed when Lena challenged her to a thumb war. She listened to Graham, too, but with curiosity, not caution. "So, web designer?" she asked between sips. He nodded. "Yeah. Mostly contract work. Keeps the lights on." She smiled. "Bet you're good at it." He blinked. Most women said, "That's nice." Not "bet you're good at it." By the end of the hour, Lena had braided a loose thread on Callie's sleeve. Leo had stolen half her toast. And Graham? He had forgotten to pretend. Outside, she zipped her coat and looked up at him. "You're surprisingly normal." He raised an eyebrow. "Is that a compliment?" She laughed. "It is when you're single and 32. She looked at the kids. "They're lucky, you know. You're trying." He opened his mouth to reply. Didn't. Just nodded. After she left, Lena tugged his sleeve. "I like her," she said. Leo added, "She didn't pretend." Graham knelt beside them. "You think she'd still like us if she knew we had 5 houses?" Lena shrugged. "She liked us before the syrup." He smiled. But deep down, something twisted. Because for the first time, the lie wasn't about protecting the kids. It was about protecting something he didn't want to lose, before he even had it. It started with a scribble. Leo had drawn something on a napkin during their second outing, a coffee shop near the park. Callie tilted her head at the lines. "That's not a dragon," Leo said. "It's Mommy." Lena kicked her brother under the table. Graham froze. Callie didn't flinch. She looked at the jagged scribbles again and asked, "Did she like purple?" Leo nodded. "She wore it every day." Callie smiled. "Then we'll get purple pens next time. Deal?" Leo shrugged, but he was smiling now. Later, Graham buckled them into the back seat and turned to Callie. "You didn't ask questions. Would it have helped?" He paused. "No." She nodded. "That's why." They met again a few days later. This time without the twins. Callie had invited him to her classroom, a modest music room at a public charter school. She handed him a pair of child-size headphones and gestured toward a group of kids tapping rhythms on the floor. "They're nonverbal," she explained. "But music makes room for them to speak anyway." He watched as she moved among the students, patient, focused, lit from the inside. When she returned, he said softly, "You're not what I expected." She gave him a look. What did you expect? I don't know, someone who'd ask about the houses I don't have. She laughed. I like rentals better. They don't pretend to be permanent. They got burgers after. Shared fries. He asked about her past. She shared what mattered. I used to want the kind of love that looked good in pictures, she said. Now I just want the kind that doesn't disappear. He swallowed harder than he meant to. That night he stayed up too late. Scrolling through her social media. Sparse. Googling her name. Nothing flashy. Checking her background. Quietly, of course. No red flags. Just real. The next time they met, Leo had a meltdown over a missing shoelace. Graham panicked. Lena froze. Callie knelt beside Leo and whispered a melody into his ear. He stopped screaming. Just like that. Graham stared. How did you? He needed rhythm, she said simply. It slows down the world. Later, Graham walked her to her car. You're kind of amazing, he said. She rolled her eyes. Syrup and shoelaces. Real romantic. No, he said, voice low now. I mean it. Callie looked at him then. Long enough to notice something else behind his smile. Graham? Yeah. You ever lie to protect something? He hesitated, then smiled, but didn't answer. Callie noticed it during breakfast. They were at the diner near her school. Leo was coloring. Lena was humming. Graham stirred his coffee too long. You okay? She asked. He nodded. Too quickly. Just tired. That was the first thread. The second came 2 days later, when he canceled plans. No explanation. Just a message. Can we reschedule? No emoji. No warmth. Callie didn't chase. But she felt the shift. And when someone has lived through silence before, they know when it's about to return. At school, she played a Chopin nocturne slower than usual. One of her students asked, Miss Callie, are you sad? She smiled. Just thoughtful. Graham stood in his office, overlooking the city he supposedly ruled. He wore the suit he hadn't let her see yet. Checked numbers she didn't know he controlled. His assistant walked in with files. Board wants an answer on the Italy acquisition. He waved her off. His mind wasn't on Italy. It was on a music teacher who had soothed his daughter without saying a single word, and the lie still sitting in his mouth like stone. He told himself he was protecting them. The wins. His own heart. The life he'd built around not being vulnerable again. But what he really feared, that she'd look at the real version of him and decide it had all been performance. That he was just another man in a suit who never really saw her. Callie received flowers the next afternoon. White tulips. No note. She almost laughed. She almost cried. Instead, she placed them on the piano. Didn't text. Didn't call. Daniel, Graham's brother, called him out over lunch. You look like someone who built an empire and forgot why. Graham exhaled. I met someone. Daniel raised a brow. And you're hiding? I told her I'm broke. You what? I needed to know she wasn't chasing money. Daniel leaned forward. She's not chasing anything, Graham. You are. At home, Leo asked, Where's Miss Callie? Lena added, Did she stop liking us? Graham knelt down, heart heavy. No. She just doesn't know everything yet. Leo frowned. Then tell her. Lena shrugged. You're the grown-up. The invitation came through the school. An annual father-child recital. Low pressure. Mostly fun. But Lena took it seriously. She wanted to sing. With Graham. Callie was asked to accompany on piano, something she'd done the past 2 years. She said yes. But she hadn't seen Graham in 10 days. Not since the flowers. Not since the distance. The rehearsal was on a rainy Thursday. Lena clutched her dad's hand as they entered the auditorium. Callie was already at the piano. Her hands stilled when she saw them. Graham gave a small nod. Callie returned it. No smile. No warmth. Just a mutual recognition. Leo ran up first. Callie crouched and let him barrel into her. You came, he said. She hugged him tightly. Lena followed, quieter, but no less hopeful. Callie looked at Graham. Ready to rehearse? He nodded. If you are. The song was simple. You are my sunshine. But Lena's voice cracked on the second line. Her lip trembled. Callie saw it before anyone else. She moved fast, faster than Graham. She took Lena's hand and whispered, "Want me to sing with you this time?" Lena nodded. Callie looked at Graham. "Let's try again." This time, they made it to the end. The twins beamed. The room clapped. Graham stood perfectly still. After, while the kids ate cookies backstage, Graham approached the piano. Callie was packing up her sheet music. "Thank you," he said quietly. She didn't look at him. For what? For saving her. Now she met his eyes. "I didn't do anything special." "You always do," he said. "That's the problem." Callie tilted her head. "The problem?" He exhaled. "I mean, I didn't expect you to matter this much." She laughed, but there was no joy in it. "You should have said that before you started disappearing." "I was afraid." "Of what?" He hesitated. "Of being seen." She folded the last sheet of music. "Here's the thing, Graham. I don't care that you're scared. I care that you hid." His throat tightened. "You still don't know everything." "Because you won't let me." The twins ran up then. "Miss Callie!" Leo shouted. "We saved you a cookie." She crouched, took the napkin-wrapped treat and smiled. "Best part of my day." Graham watched her with them. And something inside him cracked, not from pressure. From truth. Later that night, he stood alone in the kids' playroom. He picked up Lena's crayon drawing, 3 stick figures holding hands. Labeled, "Me." Miss Callie. His name wasn't on it. It was raining when she told him. Not metaphorical drizzle. Real rain, cold, heavy, and relentless. They were parked outside her building, post-recital rehearsal, the twins asleep in the back seat. Graham had offered her a ride home. She hadn't declined. Now the car was quiet, fogging at the edges. "I wasn't always like this," she said suddenly. He looked over. "Like what?" "So good with kids." She didn't wait for him to speak. "My mom was a traveling nurse. I lived in 6 states by the time I was 12. Got left with friends. Babysitters. Strangers." He listened. She kept going. "When I was 16, I was alone in Chicago for 4 days. Mom missed a flight. Said it wasn't her fault. It wasn't, technically. But..." She shook her head. "Anyway, you learn to soothe yourself after that. And then eventually, if you're lucky, you learn to soothe other people too." Graham didn't speak. Not because he didn't want to, but because for once, he wanted to listen correctly. Callie glanced back at the twins. "They're not just sweet, Graham. They're careful." His chest tightened. "I know. They watch people's faces too closely. They try to make others comfortable. That's not natural at their age. That's survival." He swallowed. "They deserve someone steady," she said gently. "Someone who tells the truth the first time." That line landed. She looked at him then. "You care about them. I can see that." He nodded. "But they need to know that love and lies can't live in the same house." Silence. The rain softened. He wanted to tell her then. Everything. He opened his mouth. And then, he didn't. She reached for the door handle. "I'm not asking for your whole story," she said. "But I won't stay in one I'm not written into." She got out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. The twins didn't wake up. But Lena mumbled something in her sleep. "Callie sings better than Mommy." Graham closed his eyes. The next day, he opened the safe behind his office bookshelf. Took out a manila folder. Inside, photos, press releases, Forbes features. He placed one on his desk. A magazine cover. Maddox Media, Billionaire behind the curtain. He stared at it. Then turned it face down. The library wasn't part of the plan. But Leo had begged to visit the new downtown branch after school. Graham agreed. He needed the distraction. Lena picked 3 books. Leo chose one, and then 2 more. They turned a corner, and froze. Callie was sitting on the floor of the children's section, a kid in her lap, reading The Giving Tree. She looked up. Saw them. Careful. Leo ran first. "Miss Callie." She caught him in a hug. Lena followed. Then Graham came around the corner. Their eyes met. No tension this time. Just air. You stalking us? She teased. He raised an eyebrow. This is the only place I don't get booed for using indoor voices. Callie laughed softly. The sound hit him deeper than he expected. The kids pulled her into their table. She didn't resist. Soon, there were crayons everywhere, tiny fingers pointing at silly illustrations, whispers and giggles. Graham watched from a chair nearby. Not interrupting. Just grateful. She joined him once the twins were fully absorbed in their coloring. They seem lighter today, she said. He nodded. They like books. No, she said. They like feeling safe around someone. He looked at her. Quiet. Present. Then, they missed you. She met his eyes. I missed them too. The pause. And you. His voice was low. Every minute. Callie looked down at the table. You don't have to tell me everything. He stayed silent. She added, but you do have to stop pretending I'm not strong enough to handle it. Leo appeared with a page full of scribbles. Can you hang this on your fridge? Callie beamed. Absolutely. He whispered, even if Mommy comes back someday? Her smile didn't fade. Even then. Graham watched her fold up the page like it was treasure. The lump in his throat refused to go away. Later, they walked to the parking lot together. The sky was dark. The twins already asleep in the back seat. He turned to her. You always know what to say to them. I just say what I needed to hear at their age. She tucked her hair behind her ear. Can I ask one thing? Anything. What are you protecting me from? He opened his mouth, closed it, then said, I'm telling you soon. Just not like this. She studied him for a beat, then nodded. I'll wait. The article dropped on a Tuesday. Callie wasn't looking for it. She was looking up a field trip form. But there it was. Graham Maddox spotted at Children's Library, billionaire Texio keeps low profile with twins. Photo and all. Her heart stopped. The suit. The twins. Her in the background. She stared at the screen. Not because he was rich, but because he said he wasn't. He said web design. He said contract work. He said nothing real. The kids were in music class. She locked the door to her office and sat very still. When the knock came, she didn't answer. But the door opened anyway. Principal Hayes poked her head in. You okay? Callie blinked. Fine. Just learning something late. That night she didn't return his text. Or the one after that. Or the call. Graham sat in his car outside the school the next morning, phone in hand. 3 dots. Then nothing. Then gone. He hadn't expected the article to run. He hadn't even noticed the photographer. But that didn't matter. What mattered was she hadn't heard it from him. Callie finally replied at midnight. I didn't care about the money. I cared about the truth. And I would have stayed for it. No greeting. No goodbye. Just the wound, typed clean. The next morning, the twins noticed. She didn't come today, Leo whispered. Lena looked at their dad. Did we do something? Graham crouched down. No. This one's on me. He called Maggie. She knows, he said. His sister didn't ask how. She's not mad you're rich, Graham, Maggie replied. She's mad you treated her like she couldn't be trusted. He sat in his office, staring at a contract worth 9 figures. He signed it, then closed the laptop. That afternoon, he showed up at her classroom unannounced. She didn't look surprised. She was packing up tambourines. I came to talk, he said. She nodded toward the window. Lots of people out there to talk to. You picked me. Then lied. I was afraid. Of me. No, he said. Of being wanted for something I didn't earn. She looked at him then. And did it feel better to be wanted under a lie? His throat tightened. No. Then why? Because when someone finally saw me without the suit, I didn't want to ruin it. She walked past him toward the door. Stopped. Then said, you didn't ruin it because of who you are. You ruined it because you didn't let me choose you knowing the truth. And then she was gone. Graham didn't go to work the next morning. He made eggs for the twins. Burned them. Twice. Lena poured her own cereal. Leo sat quiet, chewing slowly. Did Callie say she was mad? He finally asked. Graham leaned against the counter, eyes tired. She said she needed space. Leo looked up. Like time out? No, Graham said softly. Like she's deciding if it's safe to come back. Lena nodded. You should tell her the truth now. I did. Leo blinked. Too late. Graham didn't answer. That afternoon, he stood outside Callie's building. Didn't text. Didn't buzz. Just stood. In his hand, a worn envelope. Inside, a letter. Not typed. Handwritten. Upstairs, Callie was on the couch, blanket over her knees, phone face down beside her. She hadn't blocked him. She just couldn't read one more. I'm sorry. Not until she knew he understood what he'd broken. When she came downstairs for the mail, she saw him. He didn't smile. Didn't move toward her. Just held the envelope out. She took it. Didn't say a word. Turned. Went back up. Inside, she opened it. I didn't lie because I thought less of you. I lied because I thought less of myself without the armor. I didn't expect to love how you looked at me. But I did. And I couldn't figure out how to keep it without earning it honestly. You taught my kids how to feel safe. You taught me how to feel seen. I know you don't need a rich man. But I need to become the kind of man who tells the truth even when it might cost him the thing he wants most. If that's not me yet, I hope it will be. Even if you don't choose me back. Graham. She read it twice. Folded it carefully. Didn't cry. But something inside her cracked just enough to let the light back in. That evening, the twins drew pictures for her. Leo, a superhero in a blue dress. Lena, a heart with a bandage and wings. Graham didn't hear back that night. Or the next day. Until Friday. He was picking the kids up from school. And there she was. Waiting outside the gate. Lena shouted. Leo froze. Then ran. Graham stayed where he was. Callie crouched to hug the kids. Whispered something only they could hear. Then stood. Looked at him. I read it. He nodded. Good. I believe you. But then she added, that's not the same as saying I'm ready. I know. But I wanted you to know I saw it. And I see you. He let out a breath. Not relief. Just something softer. She touched Lena's braid. I missed them. He said, they missed you more. She smiled faintly. Then turned to go. Didn't promise anything. Didn't close the door either. Callie didn't rush back. She answered messages now. Showed up when invited. Laughed more easily. But she watched. Carefully. Not with suspicion, but with clarity. She had learned the hard way. Love was less about promises and more about presence. Graham never pushed. He brought the twins to the school talent show. Sat front row at her community recital. Volunteered at the pancake breakfast. Burned 3 trays, made 1 perfect batch. He stopped trying to impress. He just showed up. And again. Then came the fundraiser. A black tie event for the district's music program. Callie had a table. Graham had been invited separately. Through one of his companies. He showed up in a simple suit. No tie. No entourage. Just him. She spotted him across the room. He didn't interrupt her conversations. Didn't hover. Didn't look like he was waiting for anything. Just stood, calm and open, watching her the way you watch something you respect. After her speech, he approached quietly. Still the best speaker in the room, he said. She smiled. Even in flats? Especially in flats. She studied him a moment. You're different now. I'm real now. Same thing. Outside, they stood near the valet. She tucked her hands into her coat. He asked, do you still think I lied because I didn't trust you? No, she said. I think you lied because you didn't trust you. Silence. Then she added, but you're learning. He nodded. You taught me. She looked at him carefully. Then asked, do you still want this? He didn't blink. I want whatever version of this is honest and shared. She stepped forward. Lena and Leo ran out of the building just then, jackets half-zipped, waving certificates. Daddy! Callie! They barreled into both of them. Callie crouched, hugging tight. Graham knelt beside her. Their hands brushed, then stayed. The valet handed over the car keys. Graham took them, then paused. Want to come home? Callie raised an eyebrow. Yours or mine? He smiled. Ours, if you're ready. She didn't answer right away. Just stood up, looked at the twins, and asked, What's for dinner? Leo grinned. Pancakes. Callie turned to Graham. Burn them and I walk. He laughed. Deal. In the car, Lena whispered, Are we a family now? Callie turned from the passenger seat. She didn't say yes. She just reached back, took Lena's hand, and held it. Later that night, she found a drawing taped to the fridge. It was new. Crayon people again. For this time. Labeled, me. Daddy. Callie. A heart drawn around them. No wings. No bandage. Just whole. Have you ever fallen for someone only to realize they were hiding the truth? Or has someone ever earned your trust back? Not with words, but with time? Tell us in the comments. Your story matters here. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.